I am not a financial advisor, and I never give financial advice on this channel. 100% of this content is for entertainment purposes only. Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well. It's Lane here with MetaShackle. I just wanted to go over the XLM and XRP charts for a minute. And I also wanted to show you a clip that I took from a video I saw earlier today. This is something that I've been seeing a lot more of. People talking about the month of April regarding crashes and flash crashes. I've always kind of thought about the world as there being some type of a thought bubble or an idea bubble out there in the invisible universe that we all kind of draw conclusions from. And at times you will tap into that thought bubble of conclusions and think about things or have ideas. And a lot of times if you don't do something with it, it'll just kind of go back into the thought bubble, churn around, and it'll spit it out to someone else. But as we start to move along, more people start to tap into the same types of ideas, whether it would be through intuition, manifestation, destiny, whatever you like to call it, or however you choose to look at it, but you know what I'm saying. But the other thing I want you to take into account when you watch this clip is the fact that first he talks about the dollar crash and the dollar turning to confetti essentially, but then at the same time at the end he talks about taking profits in dollars. This is indicative of the disconnect that a lot of people have in terms of thinking without actually thinking. And you must come to the understanding that the dollar literally is worthless and it's printed out of thin air, which is one reason why when I take profits, I will be taking profits in gold and silver physical coins, diversified between coins made in Canada, Mexico, and in the US, bearing the mint markers, so they are basically legal tender, but at the same time diversifying into many private mint coins and bars that do not share that same legal tender status, if you will, just in case they do another confiscation or something along those terms. It may exclude private mint. So one of the best things to always do is diversify in many different ways. That way you kind of spread out the risk in many different ways. And if you're a trader, you know that the key to trading is risk management. So let's get into the clip first, and then I'll get into the charts.
You know, I'm like watching the market, it was up 11, 12%. Okay, and I'm like, I still had that dream a couple years ago now, really a year ago, where I was like told April they're going to crash the market, devastating crash of the market. And they didn't tell me what market, but I figured maybe it's everything, including crypto. And that April came last year, and it's like, not really. So it's possible it's this one. And if it is, we're getting really close to April, as we near the end of the month. So I'm like, I may want to start looking at maybe selling a little bit at least, just to still capture profits, because XRP hasn't done too much after it did a nice rally, didn't really go down too much either with the rest of the market. So it's been kind of steady, $2.50 or so, $2.50, something like that. And, might be some for you guys who are not in my Patreon to, think about where you're at. You don't have to sell it all, but problems are coming. The remote viewers with the dollar, death of the dollar thing they've done, Cliff High's recent talkings about the dollar, you're going to find 100 to 1,000 times more dollars printed than what's on the books, like absolute destruction of the dollar. And when this kind of thing happens, typically everything just gets destroyed. Price-wise, everything just absolutely wrecks all markets. And we've never had something this bad happen before, and it's not here yet. So I'm talking as if it's already happened. Not anything that's going to surprise any of us. Again, Doge, Elon Musk, we found 14 bank or department, whatever the hell it was, they're printing money out of nothing. It's like, where's it going? Again, Doge, this stuff has already been there. It's already been known about. Doge is, pretending like they're going in and finding it. It was there to hand to them, okay? It just is being presented to you this way, okay? Antheos very recently posted his thing once again about the Dow Jones crashing below 20,000. He's done it before, but he's doing it again right now. And I'm going, again, timing, sheesh. So you may want to get your house in order financially. And I'm not telling you to sell everything or even half. But you might want to sell some stuff, at least, in my humble opinion.
So if anyone's interested, the person you was just watching in that clip goes by JSnip4 on YouTube. I don't agree with everything he says, but I really like his insight, and I'm very open-minded, and I like to get a well-rounded perspective, even from people I don't agree with, because some of the best things that I've ever discovered in life have been things that I wouldn't have considered otherwise, and which came to actually shape the path I'm on now, and I'm very thankful that that was the case. So always be willing to listen to ideas, even if they're outside of your normal way of thinking. That's how we grow and expand and evolve into the people that we become over time. But he is kind of into that whole Q movement thing, which I personally believe is nothing but a psyop. So it is what it is. But taking a look at the XRP charts, there's some very interesting developments coming along here. As you can see, we had this complete and utter fake out right here, where the price ran up, breaking through the equilibrium zone, only to turn around and basically liquidate anybody who chased this right here, coming below that breakout level and actually sweeping this low right here from February 28th, setting this low right here on March 11th. We have since crossed through this temporary trend line, coming up into this pump that we saw right here when the SEC dropped its appeal against Ripple. It's very interesting that this formation looked very similar to this one, both running nearly perfectly to the equilibrium line, which is the green line right here in the equilibrium zone. A lot of people are assuming that we could be on the false breakout leg already, which very well could be the case, but I am still leaning towards that we are going to come here, sweep this low, potentially this low, gathering sell side liquidity previous to the false breakout leg. And the only thing that would change my mind on that is if we have a full daily candle that forms above the equilibrium line right here, because like a magnet it will draw price to it, but once forming above it, it will repel price away from it. As you can see right here, once we formed this full candle above the equilibrium line, we had this breakout which set a new all-time high. But you can also see that you need it to form above the equilibrium line, because like it did here, even though it pumped through it massively, coming up to around the number 3 level on my fib extensions, it instantly failed, falling through the price. So it's not just a matter of punching through it, you want to see a candle form above it. So that's something to watch out for. But short of that, I do think we're coming down here. But we'll keep an eye on this and see how it progresses. So taking a look at the XLM chart, generally XLM and XRP trade together. But as of late, we are starting to see a lot of variance between the way the two are trading. XRP is currently trading in an expanding, broadening wedge pattern, to where XLM is trading in a descending wedge pattern, as you can see. XLM, during the Trump pump, set the pattern high right here on the first wave, which is the first point of the upper trend line. XRP hit this point, fell back, and then right here, you can see on January 16th, XLM did not set a new high, yet this was the day that XRP set the new all-time high. So they are varying quite a bit from each other. XRP also has not swept the pattern lows, and as you can see, this candle right here on February 3rd, which still stands true as the pattern low on the XRP chart, which has not been swept, has been swept on the XLM chart, taking all of the sell side liquidity at this point right here. It also did not have the same reaction in regards to the fake out pump that we saw when Trump released his tweet regarding the U.S. digital asset reserve right here. It didn't even get to the equilibrium line. And it's also trading closer to the bottom of the pattern than XRP. So I do believe that we will see some variance between XRP and XLM in regards to whether or not we have bottomed here or we are going to continue down before starting the fifth wave of what I believe will be the false breakout. So I would look out for this negative 1.5 line on my Fibonacci levels as a potential area that it could go if it does continue to fall down. But at this point, it's looking pretty weak to me. And taking a glance at the logarithmic chart, which changes the dimensions just a little bit of this lower trend line, so I would need to actually adjust this just a little bit for accuracy. But you can see that it's fairly similar, although different. But in the same regard, I would still be looking for that drop to come down to this negative 1.5. Also interesting to note that the low that was set here on this sweep, if you look, you can see was nearly perfect on this weak doji here, which fits my grafting equilibrium trading strategy that governs the way I trade. And also keep in mind that when you look at the regular chart, we also have another weak doji right down here in this 13-cent area by this small bull flag right here, that if the price did bust through here, could potentially be a likely candidate of how low that would go, especially in regards to the flash crash that I believe we're going to see in April, which is the foundation of my current thesis. That is a good area to take a look at, somewhere between here and the -2 line, which also plays true when you take a look at the logarithmic chart as well. So confluence is your best friend in regards to trading and chart analysis. But there are reasons why I do certain things that I do. And trust me, I've put plenty of time into this. So some people who will get on my case about not using the logarithmic charts simply don't understand the reason why I switch between the regular and logarithmic. To go either way is very limiting, and you want to look at both perspectives, but things don't always work the same way that they do on the two opposing charts. But they are both tools nonetheless and need to be considered. So it's very interesting how the charts are looking here. I just wanted to do a quick video to go over that really fast and show you that video clip. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for your continued support and all of the comments that you've been leaving on my videos. I really appreciate it. Do me a favor and hit the like button. It doesn't cost you anything and it really helps the channel out, and I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.